Hey! You are listening to the Grumpy Guy BJJ Podcast.
Hey, what's up, guys? Got to take care of a few things before we jump into this week's episode. First, our Ramping Isometrics for BJJ program. It is a 12-week program, all laid out for you. It's going to help you build strength and cardio in the fastest, safest, and most convenient way possible. This is how James and I have been training for the past year, and we love it. So we put this program together so you can just follow along, and we are certain you will see and feel the benefits that we do. It's only $15. Just go to grumpyguybjj.com, click the drop-down menu in the upper right-hand corner, and you'll find it. Next, R3. This is our K2 D3 supplement. It is a combination of those two vitamins, D3 and K2. These are two vitamins that James and I have been taking for a long time that really help us recover from hard training sessions. And for only $15 with free shipping, you get a whole month's supply. I was going to pull up some studies explaining the benefits of D3 and K2, but I'm not going to insult your intelligence and pretend to be a fucking scientist. I take it. It helps me recover. That's it. So for $15, check it out. And last but certainly not least, we have partnered up with Judgement.com. They have a ton of awesome BJJ instructionals, and they have hooked us up with a discount code for our listeners. It's Grumpy10. So what you got to do is you go to Jujitsu.com, which is DIGITSU.com. Find the instructionals you want, throw them in a shopping cart. In the little discount code box, you type in Grumpy10, which is just GRUMPY and the number 10, 10. That's it, no spaces. Boom, you get 10% off. You're up and running. They got a nice app you can download on your phone. That way you can take your instructionals right to the gym with you, watch the technique, drill it. It's a pretty sweet setup. So once again, DIGITSU.com. Discount code Grumpy10, GRUMPY10. Simple as that. To find all this stuff I just got done talking about, go to our website, grumpyguybjj.com. Click the drop-down menu in the upper right-hand corner. There, you'll subscribe to our newsletter for podcast updates. You'll find links for the Ramping Isos program, the R3 Recovery Supplement, and then under the Programs and Products tab, you'll find a link to Jujitsu.com. And let's be honest, if you guys can't figure out how to navigate a website by now, there's nothing I can do to help you. So quit fucking around. Check it out, train hard, and let's get into this week's episode. And now we're going.
Okay, now we're going.
I had to pause our conversation.
I know, it's funny.
We were starting to get into a jiu-jitsu conversation before I hit record. I was like, wait, why are we not recording this?
Well, part of it because it's one of my secrets that I don't want out yet.
Oh, okay.
I mean, not really.
Not really.
But we were just talking about, just last night I had kind of a breakthrough with application of a principle, and just talking about how it's so much easier to try to apply principles than specific moves, and so we were talking about just when people are passing your guard, obviously the first thing is don't let them get past your legs, but if they do get past your legs, they're going to have to get some sort of like double upper body control. They're going to have both their left and their right arm controlling your upper body to consolidate it, and then they can consolidate their pass. And so as long as they don't get that double upper body control, it's really hard for them to finish the pass. And then also another one is like, people, you can't multitask, right? You can't think of two things at once. So they can only pay attention to one half of your body at a time. Mm-hmm. And so if they're paying attention to your legs, they're not paying full attention to your upper body. And so, they're passing your legs because they're paying like fucking attention to your legs. So they start to get past your legs. So you recognize that, and now you shift your focus to like upper body. I'm not going to let them get to the upper body. They're still focused here. And you can almost feel when their attention shifts, because they realize like, well, if I don't start focusing on their upper body, I'm not going to finish this pass. And as soon as their attention shifts to the upper body, then you can go back to the lower body and get a leg back in. Mm-hmm. And so like those two things, just understanding like what does someone have to pass your guard, and then they got to get past your legs, and then they got to consolidate. They got to get double upper body control, and then they can consolidate, and they can only pay attention to one thing at a time. And so that's helped in like side control too, like that idea, because if they're really trying to focus on controlling your hips because you're trying to get your knee in, they're not paying attention to your upper body. So you can start getting better frames or fucking, using your frames to try to distract them. Because as soon as they come back up to try to address that, well, now you can go back to trying to get your legs in. And it's just this fucking game back and forth. So, but like, I know that they know that I know, so that's where it gets fun, man. Against like, lower level people, it feels like you're playing like 3D chess and they're like learning checkers.
Right.
Because they don't even know they don't know these they have no clue. But then it's fun, like, rolling with guys like you, because like I know these things. So, when you shift your focus that you still have to keep some focus here. So like that's the trick, is like, it's like peripheral vision, right? Like you can focus on something, but the better your peripheral vision is to alert you to things that you may need to change your focus to.
Yeah, you're constantly scanning and assessing, threat assessing. You're scanning like, do I need to deal with this? Nope. Okay, I can deal with this.
Yeah.
And then you're always recalculating and reassessing.
Yep.
What's funny is rolling with Brazilian Nick yesterday. He was kind of passing my guard. I was kind of letting him, and then I got like the armpit grip up in his gi.
Yeah.
And he didn't respect it. And so as soon as I got that grip, and I had another frame, and so I just waited. And once he got past and I felt his weight get a little funky, then I just kicked my legs and I just pushed him up and over. Really, just a real bullshit reversal. But I just had to control. And after the round got done, he was like, "What did you reverse me with?"
And I saw you guys talking about it. And it was funny.
I was like, "Dude, it was just the armpit grip." I was like, "You just didn't respect it.
He didn't have any.
You didn't know it was a threat.
Yeah.
Like you thought you were gonna get the pass. You didn't realize the frame I had was.
You had inside position.
Yeah, it was more detrimental to you.
He had
than you thought. You just didn't realize.
Yeah,
it.
He didn't have any
any
inside position on it.
And you see, it didn't sit well with him. Like he accepted. He's like, "Oh." And I don't think he 100% bought in.
Yeah.
But he will.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that armpit grip, and you get a really good grip and a post in that armpit, like you have to address that.
Yep.
Because it's going to shut you down. It stops rotation. You can't get a good grip and control on that side. Like, you got to deal with it. You got to get back inside.
Yeah, you have to have inside position. If you don't have inside position, it's funny. Last night I got past Trey's legs. And, he's like a fucking quarter hobbit.
Yeah.
So he's got these short little arms and legs. And even when you get past him, he's still like throwing them up over his head. And he's good. And he managed to get inside position on me. And I was like, fuck. It's funny. I thought I kind of had like under his head a little bit. And I had to fucking throw a Teddy Roosevelt on him. So it was like a super Teddy. Where I was like hugging his fucking face into my knee. And I even had to like stop and apologize. I was like, man, this is the only control I got left, brother. It's like, you got everything else. Like, I got to fucking take what I got.
I've done that to Trey on more than one occasion. Because he is so good at getting in. His limbs are short and he gets them back inside quickly.
Yes.
And so sometimes you got to resort to a little more aggressive tactics.
Yeah, you got to use the head a little bit.
Yeah, you got to control the head.
Yeah, so, but it is, man. It's all that. It's that constant scan. I was like, I got past, and all of a sudden I was like, you just start to recognize, like, I got no inside position here. I'm in fucking trouble. And then you got to find something. Well, what do I have? What can I? Oh, there's his face. He's my knee in his eye.
And it's funny the different habits, your routines you pick up from your training partners. Because I try to force north-south from the bottom a lot of times.
Yeah.
And Brazilian Nick is really good at taking my back. Like, he will let me get north-south in hopes that I try the Hollywood sweep, because he'll take my back.
Yep.
He does it better than anybody.
He's got to move, yeah. He understands the
trap
door.
Yeah, and so I won't even attempt that sweep on him. I don't take my back off the ground, because he will be on my back quickly.
Yeah.
But to where Kevin, like, if I go north-south, he just aborts mission and just completely gets out of there. He'll give up all semblance of control. He wants nothing to do with north-south. And just start back from a guard passing situation.
That's funny. Well, I told you that's where my spread eagles come from. And dude, that thing's deadly to people. Because, man, like, people don't do this to you very often. You have no fucking clue what to do. And so, but yeah, that was 100% from your fucking Hollywood sweep. And, it's basically backing out, but it's not backing all the way out.
Control.
Yeah, it's just, I just got that inside bicep position, and I'm able to use that because you need that to roll me.
Rotate.
And as soon as, if you try to go for it, you kind of have to extend your arm a little bit to go for that sweep. And then that gives me the leverage to fucking spread the arms out and pin them down. And then, like, you can't fucking move. I can't tell you how many times that move has saved my ass since I really started to use it more. Because people get, especially big guys, like, you know, people who are strong and they go to fucking, like, push you off. And, you know, going to north-south is good, but it's a scramble. Like, if they get inside position, you know what I mean? It's still a fucking scramble. And so just making sure on that way to north-south, I get that double inside bicep and spread them out. And then it's like, it shuts down their movement. And if they really commit to moving away, like, I know where they're going.
Right.
And I can take their back or I can do something with it. So, but it's 100% because of your ass. But it is, dude. It's funny the shit your game develops because you're trying to solve problems that your
training partners
regularly
present to you.
Yeah. It's like, all right, how do I not get fucking swept from north-south? It's with the same sweep that I know is coming. So everybody's got their answer. You got three different people with three different answers.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's such a ridiculous move. Again, dude, I kind of stumbled upon that at Blue Belt, and I've been using it ever since.
Yeah. It's funny, man. You just hit things or stumble on things, and you're like, huh, that works.
It seems to work.
Seems to work. That's how your fucking game develops.
Yep.
Which is fun.
Looking forward to wrestling again today.
Yeah.
My legs are a little tired. I put in my first day of skiing yesterday.
That's right. Yeah. Did you go by yourself?
Yeah. I asked Joel. He had to work, and then the Mahler was my other snowboarding buddy. He had, I think, like his EMT graduation or some bullshit yesterday.
Oh, right on.
It was annoying. Like, come on, man, let's go skiing.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck that, it's dumb. You passed the class. What are you gonna do? Go throw your hat?
Yeah.
Come on.
I skipped my high school graduation. I mean, what the fuck?
I didn't tell him that, but hopefully he'll hear this on the podcast.
Congratulations. Yeah, man.
That's a tough course. I went through that course a few years back.
Yeah.
EMT course there, the same one he's doing. Yeah, dude, it's time consuming. Like, you gotta put your time in, you gotta study, and
they want to make sure you are committed. You know,
you don't want to be hurting anybody.
No. There's just certain hurdles they need you to overcome.
Yeah.
Even if it's just showing that you're that serious that you're going to put in all that time. Mm-hmm. So, well, that's cool, man. So, yeah, you said...
yeah, it was a good day, dude.
Good fun?
Yeah, a lot of fun.
It was a beautiful day yesterday.
Yeah, first day back on skis, and I don't know, I'd have to say roughly 7-8 years, because I moved out here 13 years ago. I skied for the first 3, because I grew up skiing. And then my motivator to switch over to snowboarding was my wife at the time was snowboarded. And, you know, being that I grew up skiing, like, I skied pretty fast. And she hadn't gotten real good at snowboarding yet, so it was just slow. And so it was just annoying, because I get down to the bottom of the run and just have to wait.
Yeah.
I just had to wait. I was like, all right, I need to be new at something, so I go just as slow. And so I was like, let's switch to snowboarding. So I switched over, and I liked it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I snowboarded for 8 years roughly. But I had the inkling to get back into skiing this year, get the AT setup. It's called an Alpine Touring setup.
Yeah.
So it's, like for our listeners, your alpine skiing is what you see most people doing. Like ski racing, if you see the Olympics, that's considered alpine skiing. Alpine touring is very similar setup, but the binding's a little different, and the boots can be different also, to where you can ski just like alpine skiing. You're all locked into the ski, but then if you want to climb up the hill or traverse, you can unhook your heel, and then you put what's on the bottom called climbing skins, which is like this felt grippy stuff.
Yeah.
And then you can basically cross country ski.
Yeah.
Uphill.
Nordic track your way up the hill.
Exactly. You're going to Nordic track your way up the hill. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
fuck yeah, man.
I didn't do any of that yesterday. Yesterday was just getting my skiing legs back under me, remembering how to do it.
Yeah.
And the first run was a little shaky.
I bet, man.
But it wasn't bad. It was coming back to me pretty fast.
Yeah.
I still got definitely some more practice to do.
Sweet.
But tomorrow I think I'm going to head up and do some skinning. I'm going to go practice. I'm not going to spend all day up there. Just head out early in the morning and skin up the mountain. Forego the chairlift, and then do a rundown and maybe grab a couple runs with the chairlift. But we'll try the skinning process tomorrow and see.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm anticipating that's going to be a very strenuous workout.
Probably.
Not going to be easy.
No.
So
you'll love it.
I will love it.
Yes.
Find a way to make myself suffer.
That's right,
Not
man.
only am I going to be terrible at it, because there's going to be some technique to it, but you're up at 9,000 feet climbing uphill vigorously.
Yeah.
It's going to be taxing, so I think I'm going to wear my heart rate monitor just to see how high my heart rate gets.
Fuck yeah, dude. track that workout.
Yeah, one of my
see what
chest
that
strap.
training load
See
looks
what it
like.
does. Just for
Yeah.
shits and giggles.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, man, pumped. I like wintertime.
Cool.
I do. I don't like it for work.
Yeah.
I do. That's you. Cause you asked me. I meant to address this with you because you asked me a question to come up with a book idea to give to new students. Fruit of BJJ.
Yeah.
I have had zero mental resources to fucking contribute to that
Yeah.
thought process this week. Dude, it was a tough week, man. Like, just all the snow and Telluride, and dude, I worked. Every day was like 12+ hour day. If not, there was. I had to. There was so much work to do. They sent 2 of us to Telluride one day, and I got done. I was at one part of town. This other guy was in another part of town. I got done at like 4 o'clock, and I called him to see where he was at because he wasn't familiar with, and he's not as experienced as I am. A little bit younger fellow. He's like 25, 26. And dude, I called him at like 4 o'clock, and he had only made 1 delivery so far. He had trouble putting on chains. He didn't have much driving experience in the mountains.
Yeah.
He hadn't really been trained up properly, and they shouldn't have sent him.
Right.
They knowing this, they shouldn't have sent him. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he had like a full trailer full. I was like, fuck, dude. And I could have just said like, oh, that sucks, man. Good luck. But I cannot do that to somebody. So I went and met him in town. I had to back my trailer up to his, take a bunch of his deliveries off his trailer, put it on mine. I gave him specific instructions. Like, you're going to go here, then you're going to go here, and then you're done for the day. These other ones are going back to the yard. You call the boss, tell him I told you to do that. That's just what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And I had to go do the other 3 or 4 deliveries. Yes, I didn't get home until like 10:30 that night.
Oh, man.
I was like, "Ah." And that was on Tuesday. And so that just puts you behind the ball because never play catch up, because then I'm dragging ass come Wednesday, and then I work another fucking 12 or 13 hour day on Wednesday, and I get home, get 6 hours of sleep at best.
Yeah.
Wake up and do it again. It's like, God damn it, man. Dude, by the time I got out of work on Thursday, I was like a zombie. Just like gave 0 fucks about anything. I was just so dead, dude. So dead. I was like, I'm not going skiing tomorrow. Fuck, dude, I'm so spent. But I woke up, and once I got out skiing, dude, I was like re-energized. I felt good. So
It's something you're motivated to do.
Yeah.
It's definitely some energy in that.
Being out in the outside, dude, I love being outside in the mountains, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah.
It's just the cold air in the lungs and your face, like it's good. So
Yeah. Well, good.
the
man.
world was right. I went and skied. I did some jiu-jitsu. I kind of set my world straight for
Nice.
the chaos I dealt with.
Yeah. That's the way you got to do it. That's
And
what
then-
it's there for.
And then I had a great conversation on my other podcast yesterday with Paul, the
Nice.
skeptic and the pastor. We'll be putting out episode number 2 on Monday,
Cool.
every fortnight.
Every fortnight. Exactly.
On Monday.
It's not just a video game.
Nope, every fortnight or bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly.
It'll be
Yep.
every Monday, so every other Monday. So we had a great conversation. We were talking about why do people have a bad impression of organized religion. That was the topic of conversation. More directly, why do I have a bad impression of organized religion? My
Your
experience.
personal experience.
My personal experience.
Right.
So it's good. Never in my life did I ever think I'd sit down and talk to a pastor like, hey, this is why I think organized religion's stupid.
I guess that's true. You don't get those opportunities very
You
often.
don't, man. So it was really cool. I mean, it's really an open and good conversation. It's not neither one of us is trying to win.
Yeah.
It's not like he's trying to convert me over into his church,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to make him quit being a pastor. There's
Yeah.
So we're both coming from a good place, and it's
Just a conversation.
just a conversation.
Yeah, that's true. I used to, because my dad was a preacher, and so we would sometimes have those conversations, which always, there is, man. There's a difference between like organized religion and necessarily the message behind behind it, like, so, I'd point out to my dad a couple times, like, Jesus never referred to himself as a Christian. That was a name that the world made to call his followers. And so that's a different thing, like if Jesus wanted, I'm here to create this and this is what you guys would become, he easily could have fucking done that, like given a name to his group or whatever. But once you start doing that, once you start organizing, because humans, man, they can't help it. Once you get organizations going and you get the human factor, it's so hard to keep from turning into some sort of like power struggle, because that's what it basically boils down to. Like the reason, and again, just my impression is that organized religion, the reason that people have a bad impression of it is because it has been used and is used to exert power over people, and not necessarily in a good way, whether you're in, so yeah.
Then, that was one of the points I brought up. And, the point I brought up was, how dogmatic a lot of religions can be.
Yeah.
They just, oh no, there's a heaven. That's what happens when you die. God created us all. I'm like, that's cool if you believe that, but don't bullshit me. You don't know.
Don't know.
No one knows.
No.
And, and Paul was cool with that. He's like, yeah. He's like, we have faith that this is where we came from and this is where we're going, blah, blah. He's like, but yeah, we don't know.
That's the whole thing, yeah. That's what it's called, faith.
Faith, yeah. And, so we talked about that, but yeah, that's what a lot of it turned me off when I was young. Is because it was so, Christian or Catholic, especially in that denomination, it seems to be a little more dogmatic and just, this is what the Bible says, this is it.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of gray area in Catholicism.
Well, they got a fucking dude with a big white hat that is like literally their version of God on earth that rules on this shit. So like if he says that birth control is wrong,
that's it.
Boom.
There's no gray area. There's no nothing.
There's no nothing.
And I think that's a big part of what turns me off from it.
Yeah.
Is that.
Yeah, because it encourages people to not think for themselves on some level. But there's a fine line, right? There's a tension between it. It's just it can't get taken too far. Like we know the thing that really turned me off to it was being Church of Christ. I don't know what the hell, because like what the funny thing is it's like churches, like they think that their way is the way. So like even other Christian churches are wrong.
Yep.
So like we're Church of Christ, and so it was all about the Baptists. You know what I mean? It was just like, because they're both Southern, like we're down in, Texas, like Baptist is definitely a Southern,
right.
Southern
Baptist.
strongly represented in the South.
Right.
And, Church of Christ is as well, but that was like the thing. It's like, oh, those Baptists, they don't think that you have to be baptized to be saved, that, that once you believe that you're saved, and the baptism is just a symbol of it. But, it says that if you're not baptized, you're not saved. So, you know what I mean? Like, and this is it. This is what they're fighting. And it was like, they argue, like they actually were like, one of us is getting into heaven over this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like to that point, and like I remember like like I remember where it was. It was like a class or something, and I like to fucking raise shit, so I'm always asking questions. And like, dude, one of the guys literally like he didn't. I think when I phrased the question this way, he took pause because he realized where his train of thought was going. But it's like, are you going to be happy if you get to heaven and all the Baptists are kept out? Like, is that going to make you happy? Like, that should not make you happy, man. Like, this is not a, like, I'm right, and, that makes me happy.
You're not going to burn in hell.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, you better hope to God you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want that, like, is that really going to make you happy if you get to heaven and you find out that, like, yeah, all the gays and all the, you know what I mean? Like, that's going to make you happy? You're going to be sitting there going like, ha, I told you. It's like, dude, no. Like, that should not be a source of pride and happiness, And I think that's why, again, I think why Jesus talks so much about, like, don't judge people, right? Worry about yourself, man. Worry about yourself. God, it's for God to judge. So if God decides that gays get in, are you going to be fucking mad?
Right.
You're going to, dude, what the fuck, man? You're going to argue, like, it's stupid. Like, if you take it to that point, I think most people would realize, like, holy shit, like, that's not really what I want to say, but that is kind of, if you take what I'm saying and my actions and stuff to their logical conclusion, that is kind of what I'm saying. And yeah, you're going to have those people who are like, fuck yeah, I'll be sitting there, woohoo, but I think most people wouldn't, but they don't think about it that way. They get into this tribal us versus them without realizing, like, okay, well, what is the conclusion of this, right? Like, at the end of all of this, if you're right, what does that mean? And that makes you happy? Like, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. You don't want to be right.
No.
If that's your line of thinking.
Yeah. And again, it's not up to you to decide anyways. This is a personal thing between you and God, and you let God, it's between them. So, yeah, that's the hard thing, man. It's the judgment part where people are like, this is it. And we're not talking about it. This is it. And it's like, man, all right. But yeah, it can be used to manipulate people. That's what gets where things get fuzzy. It has for sure. It is today.
Hundreds of years. It still is.
Still is. So, but that's the thing though, is like you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because there are good things that come with it. Like there is wisdom within these things, and so just pretending that it's not because
of the stuff you don't like.
Yeah. That's like,
can't do that.
Can't do that. Right.
There's a lot of ancient wisdom in that, and we even talked about that a little bit, because I'm reading the Cave in the Light there.
Yeah.
And I bet you if you were to read the Bible and the Cave in the Light side by side, there's a lot of overlap. In the wisdom they talk about, and in the wisdom and the message the Bible preaches.
Yeah.
There's a ton of overlap. It's just ancient wisdom. It's really, if you look at the religious text as ancient wisdom, as opposed to some mystical higher being, sending the magic tablets down from above.
Yeah.
Yeah. It all kind of depends on how you frame it.
Yeah.
Look at it. So.
Yeah. Well, it is exactly. It's how you frame it, because those ideas had to come from somewhere.
Yep.
Where'd they come from?
Who cares? Who knows?
Right, but that's the thing though. Is like, but at the end of the they came from somewhere.
They came from somewhere.
And it's like, either you think that humans just came up with them all by themselves, but like the thing is, we've all experienced these flashes of like insight that it's like, like where the hell did that come from? Like that wasn't necessarily me. And so if you think that like, well, there is like something bigger, and you can tune in and have insights, that it helps provide. So it's like, it's meditation versus prayer, right? Like it's just, some of it's semantics.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it's like, if you believe that there's something bigger than this, and that there is a way to, that your monkey mind and your thought patterns can be negative, and there's a better way to control them and try and live your life and things like that. It's like that's what, at the end of the day, like that's what it boils down to. It's like either you believe that or you don't. And if you believe it, then you need to figure out how the fuck you're going to improve yourself. And it's kind of like running a jiu-jitsu school. It's not a secret. If you look back through like the ancient, it's not a secret. And so there are, things you can do, but you have to want to, because you think you need to.
Sure.
So.
On a much lighter note.
Yes.
Prior to Paul's and I's conversation yesterday, he brewed us a cup of coffee.
The siphon.
With a siphon coffee maker. This is a new experience for me. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
A little ridiculous. But it's really cool, though. I mean, I think another name for it is vacuum coffee maker. And dude, I think some sort of chemist, science dude was at home bored one day, and he had some beakers and some Bunsen burner
out of a fucking
Bunsen burner and a beaker and shit, and he's like, you know what? I can apply these principles. I can make some coffee and sell it. And so that's what he did. So if anybody's curious as to what I'm talking about, go to YouTube, type in siphon coffee maker. Yeah. And you'll see. It's a pretty cool process. Brews a good cup of coffee.
Man, it literally is. Like, when I saw that, I was like, that is what happened. Some dudes were sitting there in their lab, and they were like, man, you know what? I wonder if this would work with coffee. Yep. Because that principle they're using, they use that to extract for something. Yes. Yeah. They use it to extract liquid from something.
Some sort of material.
Yeah. And they're like, man, we just fucking throw coffee grounds in there. Wonder what that'll taste like. Make sure you clean that thing good first, man.
But it is a pretty cool process.
It is. It looks fucking sweet.
It is pretty sweet.
Yeah, if you're into the whole...
It's a little over the top.
It is. It's like the opposite of the Keurig.
It is the exact opposite of the Keurig.
Yes.
You got
it is unnecessarily complex.
It is. You got the Keurig where you can just put water in it, turn it on, and hit go.
Unnecessarily simple.
And this one you have open flames and beakers and all kinds of shit.
Yes. It's a process.
It is a process. But once you know the process, it doesn't take much longer. Yeah. It really doesn't.
No.
Because there's the longest part of it is just heating the water up. And then you got to let your coffee steep for 4 minutes anyways. But if you run your tap water really hot and put that in your beaker, and then you put your Bunsen burner under it, it heats up really quick. So it's not terribly much longer than usually how I make my coffee is like in a French press.
Yeah.
I got one of those electric kettles.
Yeah.
Heats the water up, and I pour it over the grounds, let it steep for 4 minutes, and then press it. Very similar, scenario.
Yeah.
The time's very similar, except for I don't have an open flame. Trying to burn my house down.
Right, yes. There's a few differences there.
A few differences.
Yeah, no, I mean, it looked
It's
cool.
it's a cool experience, for sure.
I'm sure some coffee nerd out there is screaming at us like,
Oh, I'm sure.
it makes all the difference. It's the only way to drink your coffee, motherfucker.
I'm sure there's debates out there, and then there's the siphon method, and then there's the pour-over method.
Yes.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I am disappointed in Paul. He did not check the temperature of the water to make sure it was appropriate for the coffee.
Well,
I
would say at this
according
point-
to the YouTube video I watched, that was an
Yeah.
important step.
well,
So he failed us in that.
I think that YouTube video was for white belts. And Paul maybe like, purple
No.
belt or something.
He's a
like
white.
this,
No,
but-
he's a white belt.
Oh, he just started?
This is brand new. He's done it. He's been doing it. He's been doing it for like a week.
Oh, see? He's like that white belt. He's hit an
Yeah.
armbar a couple times and
So showing the world his
thinks he
armbar.
knows what's up.
So he needs to step his game up.
Yeah, gotta carry that water,
He's got to have a thermometer.
water thermometer
Should
with
have
you.
checked the temperature. Would have been a better cup of coffee, Paul.
Details, man.
I'll let him know. I
Okay.
was disappointed in
I'm
his
sure.
coffee making.
I don't know what the fuck that matters.
I don't know. Apparently, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Everything's got a thing, so.
so there's levels to everything,
Yes.
and you can always take things too far.
Yes.
I think that thing might fall into that category.
Maybe. I'll bet somebody's got something even more
Oh,
ridiculous.
Well, of course. So I went to Amazon. I was like, well, how much does a setup like this cost? It looks like the cheapest end is like $60 roughly.
Right.
Yeah, of course. There's levels to everything. You can go too far. I saw these huge contraptions that were like $250. And I don't know how big they were. Obviously, I didn't look at the dimensions on Amazon, but this was like a 3-tier thing, and it was very elaborate.
And once you get into the whole like beakers and the
Bunsen
whole
burners.
chemistry setup, man, I'm sure you've got like once you understand it, it's probably like Legos, you
Yes.
know. And oh, yeah, man, fucking look at this thing that I built. So and then they can sell it. Well,
It was a cool experience, though. I was pumped he did that for us. As I'm sitting
Good.
here criticizing his coffee making technique.
oh yeah. So, anyways, if I have a chance to try it, I'll try it. Now I know. I think I saw one. God, now it's like I forget where the hell I was. I think we're maybe in Salt Lake, and there was a coffee bar that we walked by, and I remember seeing, and yeah, inside it was like, man, I think you were with us. We were walking. It was after Akila. We were walking by, and it was like this. We were walking on our way to get lunch.
Uh huh.
And it was one of the shops, and I remember looking inside and being like, "What the fuck is that?" It
Did
looked
you
like a
guys-
giant hookah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's what it reminded me of. It was
Yep.
a hookah, but it was a coffee bar, and I was like, "What the hell?" And that's what it was. They were siphon
I bet you they were doing
coffee
something like
makers.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Now that makes sense.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. It's ringing a bell. So it's a thing.
It is a thing.
It's a thing. So for
I'm
anybody,
glad I've seen it and experienced it.
cool,
Anyways, I just wanted to share that with the world.
nice. Oh, Sneaky's looking for a fish.
He's
Don't
chewing
jump
on
out.
something. I don't know what he's munching on.
I don't know either. What the fuck's he doing? He's coming for you.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out if he can fit me in his mouth.
Oh,
there
he
was
got
a-
it.
Yeah, there he had dropped the fish down
Yeah,
the
or
wood
maybe
chips.
the fish had fucking
jumped
jumped
out
out.
or something.
They do tend to try to commit suicide from time to time. Like I said, I'm not sure what's worse, like drying
Suffocating?
out and suffocating or getting swallowed by a snake.
And suffocating in the snake's belly.
Yeah.
Either way, you're suffocating, right?
Yep. Guess so. I don't know.
I would have to assume. I mean, I don't know how a fish dies inside a snake, but they don't chew them; they just swallow them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you'll see you'll see his belly moving. So that fish is still alive for a certain amount of time in that snake's belly. I'm sure it's just suffocation. Because I don't know if
I'm
snakes.
sure it'd be a little more terrifying. That's, fish is... Anyways, I try not to think about it too much.
It is a little morbid when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I keep them for a while. I get a bunch of fish and take care of them, feed them, and then it's like, okay, today's the day. It's like, I got a fucking fish farm.
Yeah, disconnect
free-range
from it.
fish. Yeah, you can't name your cows.
No.
You don't name the animals that you know are going to
No,
the
you can't.
slaughterhouse. No, they're just, you know, you take care of them and whatever, but you know that you can't give him a fucking name.
He's gonna get attached to him.
Nobody's named Nemo. I don't got no Nemos in there. So, anyways, so we were gonna talk about the fucking Pavel Tsatsouline interview that we listened to. Both listened to that. It was the most recent one.
Yeah, it was really recent.
Joe Rogan.
Past few days here.
So yeah, so Joe got old Pavel in, and so it was funny, man. I was really curious to hear like what your take was. So it was real funny that we both had the exact same take on his interview, which was that he's a super smart guy, but he definitely is so slanted towards kettlebells. And if you don't realize it, if you don't know it, you don't catch all the kind of subtle little things that he does to, you know, slant things in that direction.
Right.
And so it, but anyways, overall it was a great interview. I mean, if people haven't heard it yet, and again, if you don't know who Pavel Tsatsouline is, that's the guy behind the, like, you know, the Russian kettlebell certification was their original one, and now he's with Strong First, but just really one of the guys who helped popularize kettlebells in this country.
He's basically like one of the pioneers of kettlebells here in the States.
Yeah. Again, man, when you understand, like Dan Duquesne, you know, like that guy's a marketing wizard. So it's like it wasn't just Pavel and the power of like the kettlebell being the best thing. He also got a good marketing engine behind him that saw the potential for it. And so, and again, not everything like that works out, right? There was definitely good things. It was a combination of things, but there was a huge marketing engine behind kettlebells. I mean, man, you remember in the beginning, like,
oh yeah,
I've talked about before, like I refused to have anything to do with kettlebells when they first came out because I was so turned off by the marketing. Well, it was like they make it sound like if you were just in the same room as a kettlebell, you're 10% stronger. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, and if you just touch a kettlebell, it's like you're a hardened man. You know what I mean? Like the way it's the AK-47 of, you know, of fitness and you know, creates hard men and blah 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 blah, and it's like what how, like, what do you? So yeah, the marketing was so over the top, but man, it worked. It got people into it. Really appealed to you know, like the military and kind of that side of things, because you know, again, it's got good uses for that. It's a great tool, but the marketing hype behind it that really got it going was just so over the top. Yeah. And so it wasn't just kettlebells winning on their own merit. You know, like that's not exactly what happened. It was that plus a really good marketing engine behind them. And so, but you fast forward to today and it's like, well, what now? Like that's it. Like kettlebells have been marketed as this end all be all tool. And so we've talked about it before, like if you are deep in the kettlebell world, you know, if you've spent thousands of dollars on certifications and workshops and, you know, this is your tool, it's really hard to see outside that. And it's hard to like admit that you may have been like
hoodwinked a little bit.
Yeah, just you just there was more to it. There were more things. It wasn't that simple, right? And so, but yeah, that was you know, like I said, it's a good tool. But it's the thing that drove me nuts about that interview, though, like I said, was how he kind of set things up. And like we talked about how like the first thing was how he set things up is like, well, your three modalities that you have are bodyweight, barbell, and kettlebell. And it's like, no, it's not. He mentioned like dumbbells, like, oh, but he's like all dismissive. It's usually just like, you know, auxiliary work. People don't really work with dumbbells. And so it's like, let's not even pretend that we need to discuss them.
And he's been preaching that for years. I remember reading old Pavel stuff. Yeah. He's always been the same way.
Yep. Well, if any good commander knows that if you can choose your battlefield, you have a much higher chance of winning. So if he can choose the battlefield by setting up, well, here's the argument. It's bodyweight and barbell and kettlebell. Now let's discuss these three modalities. And you can see where kettlebells would have an advantage. You know, obviously combining all three would be the best thing. I thought it was kind of ironic that at the end he's like, well, what do? I do swings and dips. Weren't dips a bodyweight exercise. So even you're not just doing kettlebells, right? So, but if you have to choose one for some reason, then you could see where kettlebells would have some like pluses over just barbells or just body weight. And so, but that's not the argument, right? Like you can, so does that, can you do the same thing with dumbbells? Like I'd argue that just using dumbbells would be real similar to what you're doing. Like what are you doing with a kettlebell that you can't do with a dumbbell?
Anything. There's anything you can do with the kettlebell, you can do with a dumbbell.
Yes. Yeah, even a swing.
You can do a swing.
Yep, you can do a swing.
There's no reason why you can't.
If you need some offset thing, guess what you do? You grab a towel or a rope and you wrap it around
handle.
the dumbbell and you
make
make a handle and you've got an offset load, just like you do. You can do presses like that.
Yep.
Right?
You can do everything.
Everything, right?
Exact same thing.
Exact same thing. So, to just like pretend that dumbbell training isn't an option is not accurate. And then the other two tools that we talk about all the time, heavy Indian clubs and steel mace, they exist. Like they're there. Like you can't pretend that they don't exist. Well, you can't, right?
And that's exactly. It's weird that he does that. Like it's kind of surprising that he's never jumped on that train and like sold instructionals with clubs, maces.
But his whole thing is the kettlebell.
Just kettlebell.
It is the kettlebell.
But he didn't even mention them.
No.
And that wasn't it. And those two words never even got said in that entire conversation.
I was a little surprised. I don't expect it because, again, like, Joe's a great interviewer. He's not super intelligent in some areas. And, like, training is one of those areas where he's just a meathead. He's a meathead.
He just goes hard.
He knows what he knows because he's talked to some smart people, but he doesn't really understand the principles behind what he knows. And so it's really easy for him to get baffled with shit. And so I was surprised. I mean, he's got a fucking stake in a company that sells
clubs and maces. I know, he never even brought them up.
And at no point did he bring up what about clubs and maces.
Yeah, I was hoping for that.
Me too.
I was like, because I've never researched it, but I've never heard Pavel talk about him. I'd like to hear his thoughts on him.
I'm sure he dismisses it.
I'm sure he just dismisses it, but I wanted to hear it. I want to be like, okay, how is he going to say the Indian club swing is inferior to the kettlebell swing?
Yeah.
I want to hear this.
Yeah.
But I was like, damn it, the question never got asked.
No.
So.
Yeah. And man, it's kind of like, it's funny. It's like clipless pedals versus flats in the mountain biking world. Like, clipless pedals have to frame their argument in a certain way, because if they pretend that the truth exists, they realize they lose. So they can't admit that this is here. And so I feel like that's kind of the thing with those things is like, man, there's no way on earth you're ever going to argue that the kettlebell swing is a better exercise than a heavy Indian club swing. It is just, it's not a better exercise. And so if you've put all of your eggs in that kettlebell swing basket, though, you can't acknowledge that the Indian club swing exists, because that if people knew that it existed and how much easier it was to do, how much better it was, how much more functional it was, how much more variety of movements you have with it, they would probably start gravitating towards it. And
it's going to affect your sales.
And in a world where the Indian club swing is better and more functional than a kettlebell swing, like they can't win in that world. So they have to set up a world
where that doesn't exist.
This doesn't even exist.
And pretend it's just not even a thing.
Not even a thing. Exactly. And so that's unfortunately, like I said, we've talked about this many times, but that's the problem. The kettlebell community is going to be one of the biggest roadblocks to the acceptance of these new tools, because they become the new establishment. Right? Like they were the rebels going against the bodybuilders and blah, blah, blah. And they've kind of supplanted them on some level, at least in like the functional training world. So now they're on top and they have territory that they have to protect. And so those fish are just trying to get away.
They're going kamikaze today.
Yeah, it's not working now.
It's like the fish had a conversation in that bowl. Like, hey, dude.
Frank, go for it,
dude. Carl, get out of here.
Yep.
Like, this snake is going to get us. This is your opportunity. Go, I'll distract him.
I don't know what's on the other side, but it's got to be better than this.
And then he's over in the wood chips dying. Like, this is not a good choice. I'm still getting eaten. Sorry, we got to
No, dude, it's funny. Snakey's entertaining, man. I love that snake. But, So that was like a little frustrating.
Yeah.
Was just kind of how he framed that argument, because it's not entirely accurate. And then the other one was how he tried to say that that jumping was gonna be harder to do than a kettlebell swing.
Yeah. Basically, he was implying that it took more coaching to do a proper jump than it would to do a proper kettlebell swing.
And
that's just such bullshit.
It's bullshit.
That is bullshit.
I will argue that all day long, and I will show it. Because that's actually how I started doing this. Because I was doing a kettlebell workshop. It was time to do swings. There was someone that dude, you just weren't. He couldn't touch his toes, right? Any good kettlebell guy will at least admit, there has to be some progression. They have to be able to touch their toes to be able to do a good hip hinge, to be able to do a good swing, right? And so if you check and someone can't touch their toes, they're not going to be able to do it. If you check and they can't do a hinge, they're not going to be able to do it. So there are things that you should be checking before you fucking put a kettlebell in someone's hand and just start saying swing, right? It's not that easy. That's the other thing that drives me nuts about the kettlebell communities. They act like that's how it is. You can take anyone off the street and within a matter of minutes have them safely doing kettlebell swings. That is bullshit to the fucking nth degree.
And that's the Kool-Aid he pushes.
Yes.
And I don't know why everybody just accepts that.
Because it's the emperor's new clothes. You think that you're the only person who has problem coaching it.
Wow.
No one else does, because no one else talks about it. And you have this guy on top saying how easy this is and blah, blah, blah. And so you think that you're the only person that's having problems. So obviously you're the problem. You don't want to go saying anything because you don't want to draw attention to yourself. And then have everyone turn around being like, oh, what the fuck's wrong with you? You're a faker, right? Oh, you're this big member of the kettlebell community, but you can't get people to do swings properly? What the fuck's up with that, man? So no one's going to admit that something's not right? It is the emperor's new clothes. And no one wants to admit that old boy's naked because they're afraid that no one else sees it and they're going to be called out. But I think that, that's bullshit, man. That I think that people should be more open about, this kettlebell swing is not as easy and injury free as people make it out to be, man. It's ridiculous. And so, but the thing was, like I said, I'm doing as the things you're supposed to do to make sure someone can do a swing. And this guy was not a candidate, and I could see that he was disappointed. And I'm trying to think, well, what do I give him? What is a swing? It's an explosive hip hinge.
Yep.
Right? There's nothing magical about the swing exercise. We're practicing an explosive hip hinge. It's just a way to practice that movement principle. So I'm like, okay, well, what can he do? It's like, well, he can jump. All right, we'll do a fucking broad jump, man. Yeah. Just jump from here to there. And I watched the motherfucker execute a halfway decent hip hinge. Mm-hmm. And that's what hit me. It's like, wait a minute. This guy can do an explosive hip hinge, but he can't do a swing. So the swing is not this fucking magically functional thing. You have to teach someone to do a swing. They can do an explosive hip hinge. And then the Indian club came down the road, and that's when I'm like, well, this is just like a broad jump. And then you put an Indian club in someone's hands, and all of a sudden, especially if you have them catch at the top instead of just doing repeats, like all of a sudden, I can take someone and safely have them doing Indian club swings in 5 to 10 minutes. If they have the movement prerequisites. We still need to make sure they can move properly, but that's something I could never do. I could never make that claim with a kettlebell and be honest about it. And yeah, so I don't know, man. That whole fucking scene drives me nuts. How the kettlebell community is just, they are all bought in on this kettlebell swing, and no one wants to admit that, dude, it's not easy to coach and it does fucking hurt people. There has to be a better alternative, and there is. It's the fucking Indian club swing. So there you go.
That was just one of the things. Yeah, it is frustrating how dismissive he was of that, and just, and misleading. And I was really hoping Joe was going to ask some good questions, but I forget when it comes to training that, like you said, he's not super intelligent in the training realm. He works out hard.
Yeah.
And, he's fit.
He's been exposed to some smart people.
Right, but he doesn't really understand what he's doing or why.
He doesn't understand the principles.
And you could just tell, even some of the questions he was asking.
Yeah.
It was like, come on, man. Really? That's what you're asking right now?
Yeah.
I'm a JRE fan, dude. I listen to every episode.
No, for sure.
But yeah, it's just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's funny is that a lot of people, I think, see Joe as being like a fitness expert and a super fit dude. But you really, when you hear him talk to some of these guys, like his interview with Steve Maxwell, and Pavel, and other, you see how far out of his lane he really is.
Yeah. What's funny is he'll even admit, like, if you listen to him, like, he will admit, I am not a fitness expert.
Yeah.
And so I will give him credit for that. Like, he you know, like you said, he's doing his best. He's got it. He doesn't claim to be a fitness expert. Right. He does recognize, like, he's an inspiration, a fitness inspiration for a lot of people. And so he does do things in that lane. But I think he'd be the first one to tell you.
He's not out there trying to coach
he's like,
people.
dude, I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to smart people, and they're telling me what to do. And then I kind of learn a few things, and so I can kind of have a conversation. But, man, don't, you know, kind of, I did like that with Pavel and nutrition and his fucking rant on vegetables. Yeah. That was fucking awesome. Yeah. It was so true, though. You know what I mean, though? Because it is. It's like that, like, vegetables are trying to kill you, and that's why they're good for you. So, like, they're a necessary evil. Like, we don't have, like, let's stop pretending like they're goddamn fucking, like, chocolate cake. You know what I mean? They're not. Like, they're not going to taste good. Like, they're going to taste, you know, all right. But, man, there are, like, dude, a good steak. I mean, there are things that, like, taste good. Vegetables, unless you just go crazy with them, you know what I mean? Like, for the most part, they're not going to fall into that realm.
Like, I'd steamed up or used my pressure cooker, basically, so steamed up a bunch of broccoli last night. I love steamed broccoli.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm putting a fair amount of butter and salt on it.
Right.
You know, just to take it out of my pressure cooker and eat it.
Yeah.
You can do it, but it's not great. I'm not looking forward to it. But if I slather it with butter and put salt on it, like, I look forward to it. Like, I'll eat bowls of it. Like, oh, this is going to be a good dinner tonight.
Again, it's good, but in a different way, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's like vegetables are just never going to be like, you know.
No, they're not a steak.
No, they're not a steak.
They're not a steak.
So, and it's like, yes, okay, let's just admit it. Vegetables suck. They suck. They're trying to kill you, but that's why we need to eat them. I am totally on board with that message. But this whole thing of, like, no, vegetables are good for you. No, they're not. They're not fucking good for you. But that's why they're good for you.
That's why they're good for you.
So let's stop with this whole, you know, vegetables are good for you thing. And I did like his whole, like, the antioxidant. It's so important, man, that people understand that you can't just shotgun this shit. You know, the isolationist approach to science, man, has led to some half-truths and misunderstandings about things. So you're looking at, like, oh, they have these free radicals in vegetables, and free radicals do this in the body. And so, well, ipso facto, that's why eating vegetables is good for you. So if you just take the antioxidants out and take them, then you're going to get a lot of the same effects as eating vegetables. And no, that's not how it works. And it's funny because there's so many of these fucking companies. Dude, there's one, Kelly's friend is in on it big time and keeps trying to get her in on it, one of these multi-level marketing ones. But
which one is it? Do you know?
What is it? God dang it.
I love hearing about these.
Like Pro Tandem or I can't remember the fucking name of it.
On a quick sidebar.
Yeah.
Wait, let's find out the name.
Babe. Yeah. What is that? What's the multi-level marketing thing that old girl's into with the vitamins? LifeVantage?
Oh, I've heard of those guys.
LifeVantage. So anyways.
As a quick sidebar, I may have mentioned this. You know, we talked about the AdvoCare thing before. Yeah. Did you see that they did get found as a pyramid scheme?
Yep.
And got fined like hundreds of millions of dollars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we talked about it.
Did we talk about that? I forgot about that. I didn't know if I mentioned it.
And still, like, you know, what happened, like, how it had to have been like a voluntary thing on some level. Like,
I don't know. But they did. They did get found guilty by the government as a pyramid scheme. And they had to pay like $170 million.
That's fucking nothing, though. What is that?
That's nothing. To those guys, it's dropping the bucket.
It's dropping the bucket.
It's like me getting fined $100.
Yeah.
Like, all right, God damn it here.
Huh. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So one of their big things is this anti-aging supplement, and it's all antioxidants, and it's all based on, you know, antioxidant research and shit like that. And it's just like, that's not it, man. Packing a bunch of antioxidants into a pill is not necessarily fucking doing anything. But people love their pills. We talked about it, I think last episode, where, like, people don't realize that supplements are the technology, one of the big technologies in the fitness world. And so if you're not seeing the results that you want, it's easy to turn to a technology and be like, if I could just get something that'll help me get better results. And so it's so easy to just keep looking to a supplement because that's what it's pushed on us. You know, that's how the advertising goes. It's like, if you're not seeing the results you want, why is that? Take this supplement. And it's like, yeah, well, you know, you need to work harder. You need to do some other things. But we all know, really, take the supplement.
And we're so easy to get duped into that. Like, if you're not getting the results you want, it's always add something.
Yeah.
And, you know, very rarely do people like, all right, let's strip it down to the bare necessities. Let's see what. But it's always, add this. You just don't have this in your diet. You don't have this in your training program. Add this, add this, add this.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you got this big complex list of fucking exercises and supplements, and it's like, all right, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So,
keep it simple, man. Yeah, that was one of the things. God, I got the question. Wasn't necessarily related to this. It was about like, you know, because with cyclists, the whole like feeding, like, you know, eating X number of grams of carbohydrates per kilogram of body weight every 30 to 45 minutes during intense exercise. Like, they have this whole mathematical formula, and there's an entire industry of, you know, carb drinks and stuff that are supposed to like for fueling during exercise. So it's this big thing, stuffing sugar in your face every fucking 45 minutes while you're exercising, right? And so it's a big thing with cyclists. And so, you know, somebody had written in asking a question, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous, man, because you're asking about using this supplement strategy, but, you know, why are you looking at this? Well, you know, this is what the pros use, right? Because a lot of times that's what people will fall back on. Like, well, this is the strategy, this is the supplement, this is the thing that people at the top level use. And it's like, okay, what else are those people doing? They're getting 9 hours of sleep a night. Their training's dialed in. Their nutrition's dialed in. They're moderating. They're doing light, hard, and medium training days, and they're cycling them in a sane way. Like, are you doing any of those things? No, but you want to emulate them stuffing sugar in their face every 45 minutes while they're exercising, or, you know, riding. Like, this is not it, people. So again, it's like, you know, yeah, you may find some, you know, like I remember when I almost got involved with USANA, you know, another one of these ones, and their big thing is that, you know, they got all these Olympic athletes that use their supplements, and so, you know, one, they're safe to take, you know, you're not going to test positive for something, but again, you know, they're helping Olympic athletes achieve Olympic level performance. And I said, yeah, what else are those Olympic athletes doing? Right? And the people that are buying these supplements aren't doing like 95% of that shit. So you think the supplements are, you know, it's like, this is backwards thinking, people. Backwards thinking. So if you're gonna follow a strategy because it's what the pros do, you better make sure that you're trying to implement as much of what they're doing as possible, which, you know, good sleep, you know, moderating your training, good nutrition. If these things aren't dialed in, then like, dude, the supplement's not the answer, man. It's not the answer. But people it's an easy fix. It's a quick fix.
Yeah.
Take this pill. All right? It's like, if you don't do your stretching, you just take R3. And you'll feel fine.
You'll feel just fine.
Yeah. So, shameless plug for our recovery supplement.
Speaking of that, I think my dad ordered some more last night.
Oh, nice.
Well, he's supposed to anyways. I sent him the link.
Yeah.
He ran out.
Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah, overall though, that Pavel interview, I thought it was good. He had a lot of good info.
But we got to talk about the other thing though.
What was that?
The thing that he just glazed over. That what he said was best type of training for wrestlers.
Oh, yeah, totally.
This is important.
Yeah, very super important,
super
man.
Super important, and we talk about it ad nauseum, and people probably get sick of fucking hearing it. He mentioned it, glossed over it, and Joe didn't pick up on it.
No.
I was really hoping they were going to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But
So before we do, I want to kind of lead to that, right? Just a little bit, right? So, because what was funny is I was fucking getting, it was one of these frustrating points listening to him talk, because what was he talking about? He was talking about Russian sports science looking at Olympic weightlifters and powerlifters primarily, right? Those are sports. So they're looking at how to improve your performance
in those
sports, and that's strength, and that's that. You know, those things aren't strength; they're a display of strength, right? Like a deadlift is not strength; it's a display of strength. Strength is tension control, right? The better you can, the more efficiently you can create it, and the higher levels that you can create, the stronger you're going to be. And then you can display that in different ways, and a deadlift is one way to display strength. That's, you know, squat. And so things get fuzzy there because Powell just presents these things as being strength. Like deadlift is strength. No, it's not. It's not, right? So it's a sport. Doing deadlifts is a sport, and it's called powerlifting. And then you're also looking at track athletes as well. That's a lot of the research that they did. So these are all dynamic, movement-based sports. And they're just making this assumption that like that's your sport too. And I was wondering, I'm so glad, because now we get into like where they talked about wrestlers. Because I kept thinking like, well, how did their wrestlers train? Because we keep talking about their Olympic weightlifters or powerlifters, but if that was the best method, then their powerlifters would be wrestling too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I know there's a skill element, but like anyways, so that I was like, man, what were the wrestlers doing? Like that would be way more applicable to way more people, because most people out here aren't powerlifters. They're not Olympic weightlifters. They're not track athletes, so what was that? And then that came up, and I'll let you.
And then I think his first example was basically he said isometrics, time under tension. He used a little different technique that he explained, but it's the same thing. So he talked about like the push-up. He gave 2 examples: a push-up and a squat. So his example of the push-up was, you go down to the bottom of the push-up, just where your chest is off the deck. That's the end of your. That's as deep as you go, and then you come up just before like lockout. You don't ever get to the point where your bone structure is supporting you. And that's your range of motion. And you just do you can do one set, like maximal effort, just everything you have. And then, if you want to do more, you would wait like 15 minutes and then do it again.
Yeah.
So he talked about that with the push-up. I'm just trying to explain it. And then he talked about with the squat. Same thing.
About the timing.
The timing.
He said it was like 45 seconds.
To a minute.
Or a minute, yeah.
And he said like 30
seconds to a minute. Yep.
And then he talked about like doing the same thing for a squat. Like you get down the bottom of the squat, not to where you're resting on your calves, but you're right at the tough part of it, and then coming up just above 90 and then back down. Just through that range of motion.
He was talking about the weakest range of motion.
And just, staying in basically the toughest part.
Constant state of tension. Through the weakest range of motion, moving slowly.
Slowly.
Yep.
Which you can, and that's accomplishing basically the same thing as isometric, where we talk about ramping isometrics all the time.
Yeah.
It's very similar. It's very
the
similar
concept,
principle.
yeah.
The principles are the same.
Super slow training and isometrics are on like one side of the line, and then regular speed and dynamic movement are on the other side.
Yep.
And so again, like doing a push-up, an isometric would be going to the bottom and just holding. A super slow, kind of like Pavel was talking about, is setting a timer for 30 seconds to a minute, and you're just working the bottom, the hardest range of motion, moving slowly with it. And then you get to where you're just doing a normal rep. Okay, now you're getting into like the dynamic side, and then you do an explosive push-up, trying to do a clapping push-up. Now you're in like the dynamic end. And so there's a line there where you train something different. It's the same movement pattern, but you're literally training something very different based on the speed of the movement. And that's where a lot of people, they discount that. They don't give that enough credit. They just keep push-up's a push-up. And it's like, no, man, isometric push-up and a regular push-up, or a super slow push-up, these are two completely different things as far as your body's concerned. And they give you 2 very different adaptations. And but basically he was saying that that's how the wrestlers
That's
train.
how wrestlers are trained.
Yes. And if anyone doesn't know, Russian wrestlers are fucking like as good as Russian Olympic weightlifters were. Russian wrestlers were just as,
terrifying,
if not fucking better.
Yep.
Man, terrifying. Yeah. Dude, what was that guy's name? The Russian beast.
Starts with a K.
Yeah. God, I can't remember.
Krulin?
Something
Alexander Krulin or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm really close. I'm probably butchering the name, but
but like there was almost like kind of a like, dude, is this guy a genetic? Because you look at his
parents are just
tiny,
like,
and he's
little
just
people.
this giant monster that other fucking wrestlers would like. They were terrified of this guy, and so to just brush over like the success that like, oh no, it's not like the Russian wrestlers sucked. What were they doing? And but what was funny is that actually. The way that he led to that was actually he was almost poo-pooing slow training.
Right.
Because from an Olympic weightlifter, power lifter, track athlete standpoint, don't necessarily want to do that. At least not a lot of it.
Right.
Like it is more specific to what you're doing to move and move quickly. And there's a lot of advantages that come to that. And so it was almost like he was saying like, oh, you never want to go slow. You never want to do isometrics. And then, or no, he didn't say that. It was Joe who said, he was basically like poo-pooing it. And then Joe says like, so you never want to do that. And then that's where Pavel came in and was like, well, no, it's not that you never want to do it. There's definitely applications for it. And it was just kind of like this, like, you know, if you're doing this or you're doing that, and here's how you kind of do it. You know what I mean? It was just kind of this like real downplayed, I don't want to talk about
like
this.
sidebar.
Yeah. I'm not here to talk about this. I'm here to talk about this.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when they mentioned like that's how the wrestlers train, and you know, we both had the same thing. That's what Steve Maxwell was talking about. Yep. Either constant tension through, you know, it's not, you're just trying to keep constant tension on the muscle with slow movement, and or use isometrics to do the same thing. But yeah, for wrestlers, that's the best fucking thing. And so, you know, if you're doing jiu-jitsu, guess what you are?
A wrestler.
You're a wrestler. So that's the best thing for you to be doing. Like that's what's going to produce the best results. Training like an Olympic weightlifter, if that's what produced the best results, that's what the fucking wrestlers would have done, man. You don't think they didn't have access to the same shit? So it's like what they came up with, like that's the best thing for you. If you're a grappler, you need to be doing isometrics and slow controlled tension stuff. A lot of it. So if you're training like a CrossFitter and you're a jiu-jitsu player,
you're not helping yourself.
You're missing the fucking boat, man, because you are not training the stuff that was found to be most effective for wrestlers.
I was really hoping Joe. I don't even think Joe heard it.
But see, Joe's a kickboxer.
Yeah,
he's a Taekwondo kickboxer. So like, even though he does jiu-jitsu, if you were to like ask him, "What are you?" He's a striker.
Yeah.
So he, you know, in his mind, power. This power
fast,
thing,
speed.
Fast power. Okay, I don't want that. You know, I need power. And you know, so I think that's kind of why, you know, because he sees himself, he's a kickboxer, he's a Taekwondo guy, and so the grappling's there, it's part of it, but it's not what he is. And so I think that's why he didn't like hone in on it more. Whereas if he was a jiu-jitsu guy, I think he probably would have, you know, caught on to that a little bit harder and been like, wait a minute. So what are you saying here? Like, so for me doing jiu-jitsu, is this is what I should be doing, this stuff here? But no, man, that was actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was a super good point that did just kind of get like glossed over.
And I'm not even putting words in his mouth. Like he said, no, this is the best way for wrestlers to train.
Yep. This is what wrestlers did.
This is what wrestlers do.
Yep.
So.
It's fucking painful, but
it's not sexy.
No.
But it's effective.
Yeah, because the thing is like grappling is an endurance sport. It's not in like a short-term explosive sport. You know, you're a power lifter, you're an Olympic weightlifter, like, man, you got to produce maximum effort for, you know, very short period of time, right? Like you may, as a power lifter, you may find yourself in some sets that get like maybe close to 10 seconds long. Like, dude, that would be a super long fucking set,
right?
Like most of the time you're talking like 5 seconds or less. And so it's a different thing. And so, but with wrestlers, man, we're under tension constantly. So you want to train those type 1 fibers. Like that's the thing, is the sexy fibers are the type 2, right? The fast twitch. Because
it looks impressive when you can do it.
Right, well, they're the ones that have the most potential for growth.
Yep.
So if you're a bodybuilder, you're trying to target them, you know, yeah, they're the ones that you got the most power and all this stuff. And so, you know, there's a prejudice in our fitness community towards training those type 2 fibers, and almost this like dismissive, like, type 1s, whatever, dude. You know, they'll come along for the ride, but they're taking up space. If more of you would act like your type 2 brothers, things would be fucking better. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of the attitude. But no, man, you need to train those type 1 fibers. And the way to do that is through endurance, like sustained tension. And the only way to do that is through super slow constant tension or isometrics. So yeah, it's interesting. And I would argue that your average person would probably benefit more from that than explosive shit. You need some explosive shit for sure. But man, if you're going to fall, you're not going to fall because you're not explosive enough. You're going to fall because you're not stable enough.
Yep.
So if you're trying to, like, you know, just train yourself for just, you know, being able to interact with your environment with integrity, like, you need to, like, that shit is way more valuable than your ability to fucking like, I don't know, like max bench press or vertical jump or like, I don't know. Like what would, but it does it. So yeah, it was good. It was an interesting interview, but there was, good info about how to, if there is something that, that Pavel does a good job of is communicating the idea, like you can't smash yourself all the time. You have to have a plan. And, he talked about several different plans, and there's a bunch of different ways to do it.
Periodization, the history of it. And
step loading versus fucking variable loading and
he's an intelligent guy when it comes to training.
Yeah.
He's not dumb.
No. Again, but you got to look at a lot of those things are come from powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting research. So again, there's a little, it's you need a plan. But if you're just going in the gym every day and it's just
kill
fucking
yourself
battle,
every day.
you're going to battle. That was his point when they were talking about Ronnie Coleman. I thought that was a really good point. Again, man, I love Ronnie Coleman. Like
he's so inspiring.
He's so inspiring, but
look at the end result.
Yeah, man. And so like, could he have achieved the same thing without ending up with a fucking disintegrated lower back if, he had a different approach to it? And maybe not, right? Like you'll never know, but it was a good point. That's kind of one of the problems with bodybuilding is because like they don't, in absence of a true sport, you almost make your workouts your sport. And so it's like who can push themselves harder and longer in the gym because that's your sport. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was a lot easier for what he was saying to apply to like an athlete. Like if you do jiu-jitsu, yeah, man, like you shouldn't be going in the gym going to 100%. Like that's not, you follow the plan. You have a plan and you follow the plan, and the plan shouldn't be going to war every time you set foot in the gym. That's just not the place for it.
Well, he touched on that, champions and how they treat their training.
Yeah.
You treat it like a blue-collar worker. You show up, you stick to the plan, you do the job, and then you go home.
Yeah.
You don't go in there, just like you're saying, you don't go in there and just murder yourself.
No.
Just one more rep. Yeah, push through.
Yeah, the one more rep thing, yes. Yeah.
He's like, that's not how champions are built. He would use the term platform. On the stage, on the platform. That's where it's time to be a hard motherfucker and sacrifice yourself, at risk of injury, but that's your competition.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You don't have that same mindset in the gym. You're in the gym training smart.
Yeah.
And hard.
Yeah. You have a plan.
And stick to the plan.
Yeah. I mean, the bulk of your workouts are going to be what, Dan John calls punch the card.
Yep.
Or punch the clock workouts, man. You're just showing up, you're putting in the work, and you're going home. Nothing spectacular. Nothing, you're doing a good job, but nothing spectacular, man. You're just showing up, you're putting in the work. That's the fucking core of jiu-jitsu, man. Like jiu-jitsu training is the same way. Like the bulk of your training days are going to be punch the clock, man. Mm-hmm. I'm showing up, I'm putting in the work, and it's not going to be anything spectacular. But man, that stuff starts to add up, and then that starts to like build, now, because you're going to have spectacular days, and you're going to have bad days, and you're going to have normal days. And most of them are going to be normal. But like the higher level you take your normal days, like the higher your spectacular days are going to be, and the not quite as bad your down days are going to be, kind of thing. So like that's the whole idea. Again, like they talk about, if you raise your 80%, your 100% is going to come along for the ride too. You don't always have to be smashing your head against that 100% ceiling to force it higher. You can force that 80%, that punch the clock effort, and that'll get better. You keep training. It's like, dude, your first weekend, your 80% effort is garbage, bullshit. After a few years, it's, hey man, it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. My punch the clock is pretty good. It's what my spectacular days used to be, or better than what my spectacular days used to be. And so yeah, but you got to put in that work, man. You got to put in that work, but have that plan. Know it's going to be a long-term thing. That was the other thing he kept emphasizing is like, man, it's a long-term thing. I don't think he ever like really said it, but just he kept like that was kind of one of his points is like, man, you have to look at like this is over a long period of time that these adaptations and these changes take place. Like you're not gonna get these things in like some 6-week quick fix program. Yeah. Like you can use those things to like build momentum or kind of get things going, but it's like, yeah, dude, you got years doing this. And so that's one of the things I think jiu-jitsu does such a great job of, right? Like, because if you come into the fitness world, does anyone sit you down and tell you, look, brother, it's going to be 10 years before you've got this shit figured out. You feel pretty good. Everything's going. Even then, it's just going to be you're going to keep getting better, right? It's like no one has that conversation with you
because it doesn't sell shit.
No, you come in and they're like, dude, you're gonna lose fucking 10 pounds in
6 months. I'll have you looking good by summertime.
Yeah. And it's like no one has that conversation. Like, look, man, this is a lifetime thing. But that's you come into jiu-jitsu and you're having that conversation. We have that conversation with new people to help them frame it properly. And it's still hard because you still lose people, man. It's not easy. It's not easy to grind things out, but if you have the right mindset and you know why you're doing it, and just have faith in the process. I think that's the thing, he's with the professional athletes or those pros he was talking about, like they have faith in the process. That's why they can show up and just do the workout. Mm-hmm. They're not freaking out because they're like, oh man, I don't know, maybe I should do one more rep here. It's like, nope, they trust the process.
Yeah. Well, I was just listening to an interview with Joe DeFranco the other day. High level strength coach. Yeah. He's trained a ton of NFL guys. And that's how his claim to fame and how he got into the public eye was he was getting a lot of guys ready for the combine.
Yeah.
But he knows his shit, and he was talking about that. He was like, yeah, man. He's like, a lot of these pro athletes, dude, they don't like training. They don't like coming in. He's like, there's some of them that do. He's like, but a lot of them just know that's a necessary evil. And they show up and they punch the clock. They know it's gonna make their career last longer. It's gonna prevent injuries, so they can make more money and they can stay in the game as long as possible. He's like, no, they're not super pumped on it.
It's like eating your vegetables.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
your workouts are trying to kill you, and that's why they're good for you.
He's like, but they show up and they do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, a lot of them don't dig it.
Yeah.
He's like, but the good ones know that they have to.
That's it, man. And that's where motivation versus just discipline comes in. And because motivation is fleeting, or it can be just kind of a personality thing too,
is,
right?
And some days I feel super motivated, and other days I'm like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, me too. But again, you do have those people who they enjoy training.
Right.
I think most people enjoy their sport. And like you said, they recognize it's a necessary evil. What's up, brother?
Hi.
Is it time for a Pokemon update?
Yes.
Okay.
So this Pokemon update is this card is Braviary. It does 30 damage, which is wing attack and dual cut 80, and the attack is dual cut, which does 80 plus damage. It's rare, and this is the last stage of it, and the first stage is it's Ruffle. It's it says right here, evolves from Ruffle, and
how many hit points does it have?
100.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Mhm. And I have a Pokemon which has way more hit points.
Yeah.
270.
Dragonite GX, whatever.
Yeah. I thought I lost it for a second at one time.
But no, we got it. Why do you like that guy?
Because I like what he looks like.
His picture is pretty cool.
Can I see the picture?
What would you say it looks like if you were trying to describe him?
He looks like a hawk with he looks like a giant hawk with red and yellow feathers, and on the bottom of him is black, and his beak is yellow, and he also has blue feathers on the very back of his tail, and he has really sharp claws on his feet, which his feet are yellow. And on the top there are 3 claws, and on the bottom there's 1.
Okay. So it sounds like if you were to wrestle that guy, you better get on his back.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with those claws.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, get on his back. Rear naked choke.
Or his beak.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy. Well, we appreciate the Pokemon update.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Any other news from first grade? You did your performance this week.
Mhm.
How'd that go?
Good.
Good?
Mhm.
How was your line? What was your line?
I don't want to say it.
Okay, that's fine.
I already said it once in the podcast.
That's true. That's true. He doesn't want to overdo it.
Yes.
Good. Got to leave the audience wanting more.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Right on, brother. Well, I think it's about time for us to start wrapping up.
Okay.
I got to go do Grumpy Guy here soon.
Okay. And I don't want to do jiu-jitsu.
Well, we'll talk about that. Come on, man.
My breakfast is ready.
Cool.
Yep.
Thanks, dude.
Bravery.
You guys aren't out. There's a craft fair I might leave early to go to.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Sounds
If
interesting.
you want me to wait for you, I can.
No, I appreciate the offer. I'll have to pass on the arts and crafts fair.
The Fruta Arts and Crafts.
I'll
Oh,
have to
yeah,
pass.
one more thing. On the bottom of it, it kind of has a rainbow, like where the attack is and stuff.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, dude.
All right.
Okay.
All right, see you in a bit.
Cool. Pokemon update. So,
Wouldn't be a complete episode without it.
no, not yet. So, anyways, yeah. So, I forgot where the fuck we were, but
Ranting on how wrestlers should train.
yes, yeah. So,
Isometrics.
if you're doing jiu-jitsu, you need to be getting in on it some. So, make it part of it. And, yeah, kettlebells are good, but
They're a good tool.
they're a good
You know,
tool, man.
they are a good tool, but you just got to understand their limitations, what they're good for,
Yep. Yeah.
what they're not good for,
Yeah.
and it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, we're still big fans of the Turkish get up. Great exercise. Sandbag may be better. I don't dislike the kettlebell Turkish get up.
No.
You know, I think it's a good tool. Yeah, presses with them. There's a lot of good things.
There is, man.
I still do kettlebell swings sometimes. Just
Yeah.
cause like, oh yeah, I haven't done these in a while. Let's do them. I
Yeah.
prefer my heavy Indian club. You know, just the grip's better. Obviously, we've talked about it a million times, but no, man, they're a good tool.
Yeah. Just don't drink the Kool-Aid and
No, don't go too far.
yeah.
Everything you can take everything too far.
Yeah.
Just
They're
don't take it too far.
Not the end all be all of training tools for sure.
Nope.
So, yeah, and do your isometrics, people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're actually going to be, I guess, a little like Fruity BJJ update. We got the mats down last weekend, I think.
It was last Saturday.
Yeah,
And then we had a
so-
first little unofficial training session
Official training session.
that
Yeah.
night after we taped them.
Got a few rolls in, and then you actually had Adam and Deborah came in on Tuesday night or Wednesday night and trained
Oh, nice.
a little bit. So yeah, just kind of getting some unofficial stuff going. So I think next week I'm gonna put something, on social media, and obviously by the time people listen to this, it'll be too late anyways. But yeah, we're gonna do like I think Tuesday, Wednesday night, just have like an open house / open mat. So
Nice.
people can come by and train, or if people in the town want to come by and check it out, got questions or whatever. We'll probably do like Monday the following week, and then I am gonna have my birthday party at the gym.
Sweet.
So my birthday is on Friday the 27th, and so yeah, we're gonna do a fucking birthday BJJ bash.
You gonna roll?
Fuck yeah,
All right, good.
yeah,
It's a good
dude.
birthday party there.
Yeah, that's gonna be the whole point. So it's rolling will be optional, but it's definitely gonna
Highly
be an
encouraged.
option. It'll be an option. So, and then yeah, man, first week of January is coming up quickly. So that's when we're officially opening and getting classes started, and yeah, looking forward to it. It's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
one of those I can't wait to get like doing it. Just all the preliminary build up stuff is fun up to a point, but eventually you're just like I just
Let's
want
go.
to
Let's
fucking
just
start
go.
coaching,
Yeah.
get things going. So yeah, it's exciting though. It's all it came together well. So appreciate you had a big hand in helping get the mats down. Appreciate your help with that.
It turned out pretty good.
Yeah, turned out great, man. Been in, like I said, a couple times and worked out and did another training on it, and tape staying down good. So yeah,
Sweet.
Think we did good. So yeah, that's it. I'll have to sit down. I got a curriculum from Lance. I want to look at
Oh, do you?
yours.
I'm
Yeah.
not 100% done with mine. I kind of put the brakes on it because I wanted to see what Lance had,
Yeah.
and then maybe just build on that or go from the. I didn't like I got in. I think I got like 7 weeks, lessons
Yeah.
or 8 lessons written out or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, let's back off.
Yeah.
Let's
See what he's got.
and then go from there.
Yeah, it's good. It's just like 37 techniques. So it's basically like the white to blue belt curriculum.
Nice.
Which is the basics class. It's like a 16-week curriculum. But yeah, it's funny, man. I'm looking through it and I'm like, yeah, you should know that. You should know that. And you should know that. Like, there was nothing, that I saw where I was like...
I bet you it's pretty solid.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Lance knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
They all know what they're doing up there. So
for sure.
No doubt in my mind.
No, they've been doing it for a while and produced a lot of good people. So, yeah, it'd be a good one to build on. But, yeah, so we got the curriculum we'll be working off of. But it'll be good to, just get in there and start doing it.
Doing the thing, yeah.
Yeah, I got the schedule. I don't know if I showed that.
I saw it sitting out there. I haven't looked at it. I just saw it sitting on your cover.
Kind of preliminary thing, but so yeah, man, coming together.
Hell yeah.
And but anyways, so there's the Fruity BJJ update.
I don't have any updates.
No.
I don't know what I'd be updating on.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I don't have anything intelligent to share. Ready to go train.
Ready to go train? Yeah, you're running the show today.
Am I?
Grumpy Guy.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's kind of what we're gonna do. Oh, that's why I wanted to. When I get there, I'm putting together some ideas for like the 30-minute version of the Grumpy Guy class that I was talking about.
In between classes.
Yeah. So the idea is to have like a class from 5:30 to 6:30, and then have like a 30-minute, atomic strength training class, which is basically like a Grumpy Guy, and then another class after that, so that people can either stay or come in early or do both. But making that, because the isometrics and the mobility, I mean, we just touched on it. It's like, dude, if you want to improve your performance and you want to be injury resistant, you have to work on those two things. And so, so just making it easily available. But I got a couple ideas just to keep it simple, like have a basic warm up, like 3 different warm ups, a few different routines, and then like a couple of mobility, kind of like the frog, the lizard, and then that way we can kind of have like a rotating thing, so it's not the same thing all the time, but it is.
So we got structure.
Yeah, there's a structure to it. Like
easy
people
to follow. Oh, we're doing workout 3 today.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And then that way, people over time they'll get exposed to these things enough, but not just the same damn thing all the time. Because I know everybody's not like me. I get into a fucking routine, man, and I do it. Yeah. So, which can be good and bad, but so anyways, excited to get everything going, man. See how it works, see if people like it.
Cool.
And then so that's it.
Let's call it a wrap.
Man.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Grumpy Guy BJJ Podcast.
Thank you all for listening. You can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. It really does help and will allow us to keep putting out episodes. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, hit us up at grumpyguybjj@gmail.com. Also, go to our website, grumpyguybjj.com, and get signed up for podcast updates and get our free BJJ Improvement Starter Kit. That's it for now. So get on the mat, train hard, and talk to you all next week.
With a permanent friend, a hermit now, boom. Doggy stool, foggy, cool, got a froggy outside Molly dude. Melvin, Colin, Daisy Duke, hanging by the lace of their shoes. No trace of the tools, shaped into face, fuck the rules. Snooze, you lose. One eye always open, at times 2, no clue. But soon a brief monsoon might give you a view to choose. Stay tuned, include, won't conclude. To the end is near, beware there's consequences for what you do. To me, a demon, a devil of many levels. I keep on beating for several of them rebels. Me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I.